Thank you to those who listen to the podcast and enjoy it for what it is. I've had mostly great reviews and people just enjoying the reminiscing and having fun with it. I've had a few where the podcast is too short, or a podcast is nothing more than me just reciting stuff, which is not, both I think are not true. Podcast lengths are whatever they're going to be, right? Video lengths or whatever they're going to be. People actually like shorter content. I have longer episodes when I'll have guests on the show and things where longer, we have discussions, but this is mostly me watching the show, rewatching the show, and these are my observations and feelings and things I'm having about this, and I'm sharing them with you. So I want to thank all the Knots Landing groups on Facebook, all the Knots Landing folks on Twitter and Instagram. You guys are wonderful. You made the show a nice little hit for me on my network. No one else is really talking about it like I am. So there are folks talking about it in groups, but not in this format. And so whether it's 9 minutes long or 4 minutes or an hour, it's what I'm giving you, what I'm feeling at any given moment. So I'm gonna try to say that. Of course, you can't please everybody, of course. And we're still fighting for Nuts Landing to be on a streaming service. Come on, folks. Dallas and Fountain Crest are on there. Let's get Knots Landing on there. The show is the best. Anyway, this is memorable quote number 2. We did a memorable quote before, and this one comes from Val. Now, I'm going to do an episode on Laura's death. That's a separate, amazing set of episodes. I want to talk about that in a separate episode. But this quote comes from it. I won't have a chance to talk about it on that episode, so I want to talk about it separately because this quote is very famous. And maybe a word or two that's I looked it up, and maybe a word or two, maybe a little different. But the basics of the quote is, "I can make the coffee as well as you can." That's Val saying that to Karen. The episode itself was such a beautifully done episode. Now, I had heard rumors that, yes, while it was scripted, there was also some improvisation because they know their characters so well. At that point, they knew their characters, so they had many seasons in their characters, but the lead characters do. So there's some parts that were, I don't know if that's true or not. But I had heard both of those things. But either way, this quote stands out because during the episode, Val learns that Karen knew Laura was going to go off, right? Karen, that Laura was sick. Val was an interesting character because Valene, the whole poor Val thing, which could be another memorable quote, of course, from Jill and herself. Val always had to fight. Val was a character that was seemingly weak in the beginning, right? But she was incredibly strong. She would fight off JR, which is not big, it was a big deal. And she would stand up for herself. She was feisty. But yes, some things made her give up in certain areas in her life from other people. Other folks were allowed to be stronger, like a Karen, an Abby. Laura was kind of presented in this kind of weak also thing in the beginning when she was with Richard, but we saw she was actually strong also. The women on the show, they were made to the showcase. They were very strong, but with Valene, she was always fighting that image of poor Val. Val's always going through something, and Joan Van Ark played it so well over the years, where she would show Val had her inner conflict with that too. Is she strong enough? Or I am strong enough. She played that through the whole thing. But Saint Karen was always presented as she's Karen. Karen's doing a lot of stuff too, folks. But Karen was presented very strong. And Val and Karen were best friends. And she always was fighting that stigma. And so I thought it was kind of funny because they're there at the house with Richard, just kind of, moving around. And these little scenes of like, I'll make some coffee, I'll make some more coffee. Like these little Knots was so good, these little scenes that were not so little. They were real life things that you would have that discussion. And Val's like, I can make let me make the coffee. And Karen's like, well, no, I'll do it. And it's a whole little fight. It's like this little push and pull thing happens. And the coffee thing, that comment is larger than that comment. It's just kind of like, Karen, I'm strong too. Laura didn't tell me what was happening to her. I'm upset about people knowing, not me knowing. They feel like poor Val couldn't tell me. He couldn't tell Val. She was feeling all kinds of emotions, and it was coming out. And as you and I both all know, we have this in our own lives. We're feeling some things that may not be exactly what we were seeing on screen. So I love that line. You used to be able to look that up on YouTube and find the clip. I don't see it there anymore. I actually had to watch the episode that I had on tape. Actually, when it was on tape, one of my tapes. I have them over here somewhere. I know I'm over here. And that line has always stuck out to me because it was such a prominent line to say about these characters. So good. Nasani was so good. When Nasani was good, it was good. From the down to the last details, every character, and those ladies. But anyway, I'll talk about this. I almost start talking about the actual. And Richard came back for Laura's thing, and we'll talk about that later. That's a really good one. But it's memorable quote number 2 here on Not Stunning After Show. We are on all streaming service platforms where you get your audio stuff, and we're on video at JLJ Media. Thank you for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time.